Okay, we should go live. We should be ready. And it'll just be me, but at least we should have sound for everybody. So
But can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But is my voice also going on the Facebook Live?
Well, we're gonna find out because I just
Okay.
started it one more time. And let's do that experiment and see if it does it. And then we'll get started. I'm so glad it's you, Raj, going through this with me. I love you so much, my friend. I don't see us live yet. Does anybody see us live? Facebook is like, what is going on?
All right, now the what I got is I've got the
I can see
Reddit
you now.
spinning.
You can see me now?
Can you see?
Yeah.
Can
All
you
right,
hear
let
me
me.
now? Can you hear you now? Can we hear everybody?
I can hear.
I can see you now. I can hear you, Bill.
I can
Yep.
hear. Yeah, we got sound.
All right, we got you.
Okay.
All right, I see you now.
Yay!
Yeah, I can hear myself. Yeah,
Okay, so you guys will need to mute your computer.
I just did. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we can say hi to Facebook for real this time and they can hear us. Welcome to today's 2020 Sales Solutions video and audio. And we got Raj Kapur. You've seen him. If you see any of the other videos on our Facebook page, you'll see my friend Raj up in Alexandria. Raj was going to be in the studio, but he wasn't feeling so well because there's this crud going around all of the United States. Well, actually, I think all of the world, and people are getting it like crazy. And so Raj has decided to stay home and call in
And not
today.
make anybody sick.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. And we tried another experiment with Zoom. So, you know, this whole point of us coming on Facebook Live is that Bill and I are building a business together. And we figure it might help some people if you can watch us try to figure out what to do to build our business, and you can learn from I hate to say the word mistakes, but I don't know what else to call Zoom right now. But you know, if you can figure out Zoom and you can help us out, that'd be awesome, because that was the second time we tried to use Zoom unsuccessfully. But we do have Raj Kapur with us today. Raj is got an incredible story that he's going to share with us. Also, we've got Bill. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Donna.
Good to have you on the line. Be nice to have you in the studio again, but we do this as we can, which is the beauty of building a radio show in the 21st century, right?
Yeah, because what's going to happen is maybe half of the shows that we do in the future will actually be with somebody in the studio. They're going to be call in. They're going to be distance recordings, simply because that's the nature of the beast now.
Yes. So I'm just looking at Facebook online. Do you actually see me in the picture? Because I'm looking at a picture that doesn't show anybody sitting.
I'm looking at you.
I am. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm here. Oh, it's good. So I think maybe we can all just take a deep breath after this whole Zoom thing before getting started on here. Raj, before we get started, I wanted to tell you a little bit about how today's show is going to go. So Bill will count us in and he'll give us the intro, and then we'll have about 24 minutes of talk.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a break where it'll still be running on Facebook, but we'll kind of talk through how we want to go through the second half of the show. And then Bill will count us in again, and we'll go for 27 minutes. And Bill, did you prepare some recap of last week like you normally do?
Yeah, but I have show notes up. And Raj, what I've found over the years that works better, we're not going to treat it as a podcast or recording. We're going to go back and fix, though I will edit it. We're going to act as if we're live. It's more fun, and I think the audience enjoys live broadcasts better than something that sounds like it's been over manufactured.
Makes sense. Yes.
All right. So, and then Raj, we talked about some of the questions that I know I want to get answered. And so then we'll start making you the star of the show, okay?
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
All right. So I guess whenever Raj, you have any questions before we get started?
No, I think I'm fine.
Okay, Bill, you got the timer ready?
Just about. Is CJ ready to start recording?
Yes, he gives us a thumbs up.
All right. And by the way, I'm recording this on Uber Conference, so we got a backup recording.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And
All right.
Facebook is recording. We're not doing Zoom anymore until I figure it out.
I'll have to fix that. I'm annoyed by it. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. You're listening to Sales 2020, our show for business owners and sales professionals to win more and better business. What does that mean? Higher margin accounts by attract the willing and solve their problems. You can participate in the conversation by going to our website, 2020 Sales Solutions. That's 2020 Sales Solutions, not .com, not .net, but solutions. Interesting. If you're doing branding, how much you can take a URL and turn it into a branding statement. And when you go there, click our show notes. Every show, we have a set of notes up there. We got show notes up for show 11, which is today's show, as well as all the other 10 shows in this current year. Also, you can download one of our 10 previous shows by going to the Sales 2020 podcast page. We are live every Thursday at 2 o'clock, today, 2:30 on Facebook, and we're played on WNTW 92.7 FM, 820 AM, Saturdays at 10 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. Our premise is simple. There are people out there who want to buy what you are selling. The question to answer is, how do we get them to raise their hands so that the conversation can start? I'm William Eastman, co-host for today's show, along with Donna Kunde. I'm on the road today, and Donna, luckily, is in the studio. Good afternoon, Donna, and tell us about today's show.
Hey, Bill. Yeah. So today we've got my good friend Raj Kapur, who will be joining us, not in the studio, but on the radio. And Raj has got an incredible story of how he came to the United States with $20 and was able to go on this journey to $1 million online with no inventory. So he's going to tell us all about that in just a little bit. But did you want to go ahead and tell us a recap of where we've come from?
Yeah, let me just hit that, because if you go to our webpage, which is 2020sales.solutions, it's show notes. And I'm going to take you to show notes for shows 9 and 10. Prospect the customers closing the sale. And I'm going to pick up on a little of those today. But the idea behind this is, unlike a lot of other businesses, we're huge proponents of, you cannot close a sale usually in one meeting, one conversation. If you can, wonderful. Don't prolong it. Don't delay it, because a sale delayed is a sale lost. However, for most of us, the sale takes a little bit longer. And my experience from being a sales manager is, if I overburden salespeople that they got to close in that first conversation, they start acting desperate. They start doing stupid things. And customers can spot desperation, and either they're not going to buy, or you're going to wind up discounting something to a level where it's harming your margins, which is one of the things we're talking about here. And so the way I look at it is, there's a process where I want to get a number of yeses along the way so that I can deal with the objections that people are normally going to raise, deal with those early. Now, some objections we're not going to talk about those today, but for the most part, I would like to anticipate an objection and deal with it so it does not come up. And the way that I do that is by doing a number of small yeses. But before I go there, and this is what we talked about last week, so I'm not going to review the whole thing. I'm just going to take you to it, and that's the show notes, and that's on 2020 Sales Solutions, 2020 Sales.Solutions. Go to show notes, and these are the notes for show 9 and 10. And it basically says, until you totally understand what the issues are with this prospective customer, you really don't have permission to sell them. And so your job is basically to try to get your arms around what the situation is, what is, if it is not obvious, the underlying problem. Because ultimately, good salespeople are nothing more than problem solvers. You're not selling something to somebody that they don't need and can't afford. You're selling a solution to somebody who can afford it and needs the fix. And so I want to make sure that I understand what's going on. I want to make sure that I understand exactly what the root cause is, if it is not obvious to me. I also want to spend a little time with what's the implication for the customer, prospective customer, if they don't solve the problem. And so this is one of the major things I learned in sales many years ago, is identify the pain points and put a cost to that, because now you have an idea of what the solution may be worth to them. And then finally is that I want to get permission from them to say, and I usually say something in a conversation like this, is that, okay, I think I got my arms around this. Would you mind if I sent you some ideas about what I think might work? And what I've given here, what I've just received here is a yes to move forward into the sales process without saying I'm selling. On the other hand is, before I try to offer a solution, I want to absolutely make certain that I get what's going on here and I don't offer something that's false. I also never send people dollar figures at this stage here. So if you want to look at it this way, this is a two-step sale or two-meeting sale, a two-conversation sale. The first one is get my arms around the problem, and then when I start the second part of this meeting or conversation, I'm going to give back to them what I understood, and now I'm starting to work on my marginal close. I'm starting to work on my small closes. So that's what we talked about last week. That's where I'm going to leave it, because I'm really interested in what Raj has got to say, because I've taken a company from 0 to 10 million in 3 years, and I know how incredibly difficult that is. So I'm really interested in how you came here and where you started with basically nothing, and how you built an excellent business.
Yes.
So Donna, that's my intro.
I love it. Thanks, Bill. And so before we bring Raj on, let me just tell you a little bit about him. For those of you that don't know, Raj and I go back a couple years now. We met, I think the first time we met Raj was at Turning Point down in Atlanta. And then we went to Costa Rica with a guy named John Maxwell and helped transform the nation. And Raj has been an executive leadership coach, and he believes in building world-class super leaders, one executive at a time. And what you might not know about Raj is he is an award-winning C-suite leader and certified executive leadership coach who has built, developed, and led large, globally competitive teams, provided transformational coaching to maximize productivity, improve staff morale, and inculcate powerful leadership skills. So, Raj, I'm super excited that you said yes to coming on our show. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Donna, and I'm super excited too. I wished I could have been there in person, which I really wanted to, but you know how the weather is, and I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm just so glad that I'm here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
Thank you, and Bill.
You bet. So, Raj, you have
Thank
very, very powerful story that you were telling me about, because Bill, Raj has started a program called the Guidance to Wealth, and in this program, he's basically breaking down his story and how he did it. It's kind of the whole backstory into it. And when I learned that you came to the United States with $20 in your pocket and was able to build this company, Raj, it really, really impressed me. What made you, first of all, get on the plane and think that this was a possibility for you?
So, Donna, from very early on, I wanted to grow, become something bigger than what I was at that time. And at that time, I wanted to, like in my early years, I watched all American movies, read American comics, and sort of dreamed to come to America. And when the opportunity came, I sold the only possession I had at that time of value, which was my motorcycle, to get a one-way ticket to America. And all I had was $20 in my pocket at that time, because that is what you were allowed to bring. That's the max you could bring.
Wow.
And I came here and I joined an MBA program and started to go at Dowling College so that I could realize my dreams. Because America, all across the world, it felt that America was the place where you could not only make your dreams happen, but also like the roads were paved with gold. Okay, that was a mistake, but again, that is what the perception was.
Sure, sure.
So once I finished my MBA, I felt I had the full knowledge of everything that you need to know about money and wealth. Well, it was a MBA in business administration, so why wouldn't I feel that way?
Yeah.
But 3 years down the road, I was literally living in a place where I felt I was completely desperate. I was working in a non-profit organization, waiting for my green card and making a very meager salary. But my dream was still there, the dream to get the wealth, dream to wear nice clothes, drive nice car.
Let me just ask you something real quick, Raj, because it struck me that you bought a one-way ticket, and there's a saying out there to burn your ships and not look back, and you did that. But 3 years later, you're still waiting for your green card. Did you think about going back? Did you think about quitting and just giving up?
The thought did come many times, yes, because back home, it felt like whatever we had was luxurious compared to what I had here. But the idea in my mind as to that I have to make it, and I want to make it, and have given up everything that I had to come here, kept me going.
Okay,
so that is what it was. And so I'll just relate a small story to you as to how there were defeats before you could actually make success. So at this time, me and my brother was also here. We met a guy, his name was Larry. And Larry was really living in a huge mansion in Long Island, New York. He had Mercedes-Benz,
Jaguar. You're not in the woods there, Bill.
Yeah, well, I heard Dowling College. I know exactly where he's at. I grew up there.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Oakdale,
Nice.
Oakdale, Long Island.
Oakdale, absolutely. Absolutely. A wonderful place.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Raj. So you were saying about Larry.
Yeah. So over here, when he met us, he impressed us by his businesses that he had. His almost at that time $500,000 mansion. It was in early 90s. His cars and his possessions. And he told me, he said, Raj, if you want to be rich, put your degree in a locker. And while you're working, let us invest into a business where you can make over $100,000 and be rich like me. And now I didn't have the money at that time, but I took everything on credit cards without thinking and giving it a second thought because I literally trusted him. And I invested in a ladies' clothing dress business. Long story short, it took us time. We tried to build a business. We went from New York City, where we opened our first business, going to Queens, where we had lower rent, and then finally down to flea markets, but sort of nothing worked. This time I also found out that Larry actually was cheating us.
Oh, no.
Because he had already filed for bankruptcy before he met us.
So that's a big lesson there then on,
oh yeah.
You know, if you could do that differently, what would you do differently?
First thing that I would do differently would be.
Was that a necessary step?
What's that? I'm sorry?
Or would you do anything differently? Could that have been a necessary step?
Yes. The first thing and the most important necessary step is to go into a business where you know something about it. Don't get into a business where you know nothing about. So either you get an apprenticeship or you work sometime into the business to know whether you are, whether you like the business or not. Just the monetary aspect of it shouldn't be the issue of going and making money into it. Because if your passion is not there, you do not know what business it is very little chance that you will succeed in it.
Yeah, get rich quick in America.
Yeah, so from that aspect, what happened is that by the time we wrapped up the business, my brother had left his job because we didn't trust Harry. And then with that, what happened is that I was in $50,000 debt. And I didn't know where to go. At that time, I was told by my CPA, my friend, that I need to file for bankruptcy.
Oh no.
And and coming from where I was coming from, I said, this is something which I'm not going to do. So what do I do? At that time, I went and found this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. I studied it. I studied all other books. I knew exactly where I had gone wrong. And I decided, whatever it takes me, I'm not going to file for bankruptcy and I'll pay off all the debt. And so 3 years, I developed my own system. I worked on it day and night with laser-like focus. And within 3 years, I paid off all the debt and became debt-free.
Wow.
And that was maybe the best feeling that I had at that time.
Yeah. So for business owners who might have started with the credit card debt, what advice would you give them on paying it off?
First of all, if you do not have the money, don't just delve into credit cards, because this is a slippery slope. Credit cards give you instant gratification and instant access to money, which is not yours. And that is a big mistake, because if you go into a business with the thinking and feeling that somebody else will make it for you, my answer is that's not going to happen. Somebody else is not going to make it for you. You will have to strive on your own. So if you have your own business where you know your passion is there, and that is where you can bet on yourself, then getting some money on credit cards is fine, but with a plan. A plan that would be there, that how much you can pay off and not get into a hole which you will have to dig yourself out of, like I had to, which takes every ounce of effort in your life. Most people in my situation actually would have declared bankruptcy. But you know what?
Correct. Yeah, they would have. You're right.
Yeah. But you know what? That thinking and feeling at that time that I don't need to do it, something was guiding me. And later on in my life, I became a chief financial officer, going from my job to going to chief financial officer, working with millions of dollars with federal, state, local funds. If I would have declared bankruptcy at that time, I could never have gone to the trusted position of a CFO, where they always check your background and make sure that you have not filed for bankruptcy or anything else.
So the immediate advice of take the easy way out is what I'm hearing, Raj, is not necessarily the way for the business owner to go.
That is, no, I wouldn't go for that, correct. And that is why you need to learn about sales. You need to learn about the laws of money, because laws of money are there forever. And you need to understand the laws of money, and then you need to apply them.
What are some of those laws of money, Raj?
Yeah, I want to jump in here because, Raj, I want you to talk about those, but I also want to put in a quick spot here. And you are listening to WNTW 92.7 FM, 820 AM, serving all of Central Virginia, live on Thursdays, recorded on Saturday and Sundays from Chester, Virginia. This is Sales 2020. Our website is 2020sales.solutions. So, Raj, come back to that issue, because I think most of our listeners are going to get excited about what are the laws of money.
Sure. So let me start with the aspects of money. There are 4 aspects of money. The first one is generation of wealth, because without generating money, there's nothing else you can do in your life. So you have to start generating the wealth, which could be by getting a job, going into a business, getting a passive income of any kind, or using your hobby to make money. But the first aspect is to make money. The second aspect to that is, after generating wealth, you need to start saving money. Most of the people stumble at the second juncture, because first juncture is there. Everybody knows how to make money one way or the other, by getting a job, by doing this or that. But saving is where most of the people get stumped, because that level of awareness is not there, that the money that you are working for so hard, you need to save that money for whatever happens in your life, because life will have ups and downs. There will be times when you will need an emergency fund, a rainy day fund. And if you do not have those, there are problems. And in my course, I go through all these levels and go into much depth. Not only the why, which is important, but also the how and what you need to do to get to these things. So after savings, you need to go through and figure out whatever is left over. How do you now invest and grow your money? Because your money needs to make money for you. That is exactly the point where you can reach that financial independence, where you will be now working because you want to work, not because you have to work. And that is the biggest difference between people who are wealthy and the people who are struggling. And finally, the fourth aspect of wealth is protection of wealth. Most of the people think when I grow older, maybe then I will look into it. The answer is you need to look into it now, just by even getting in what your credit score is, and investing into yourself by getting like proper passwords to for your identity, not to have identity theft. So all those protections are there. And later on, obviously, as you go through, you will have estate planning and whatever you need, trust and everything. So we talk about everything in my course about these things. But these are the four main things. And I believe every single person needs to know all these four things to live a wealthy life. Money is one thing, but living a wealthy life, you need to have understanding of all these four aspects. Now, this all starts with what you call as a mindset. If you do not have the money consciousness, or you do not have the mindset, you may be able to make money, but you might not be able to keep money. So the mindset is of utmost importance, and that is what I start with. Everyone who works with me, that's what you start with. What is your personality type? How does that relate to money? And how does that relate to wealth? And from that, how to instill good habits in yourself. Because there are specific wealth habits that you need to work on. So a couple of things which you need to definitely do with the laws of money, I would say, is this thing has been repeated over and over again. It's a very simple concept, but pay yourself first. People have heard it. I think this has been so overused. The problem is you can hear it, but do you actually do it? So my answer with all the clients that I've had, my friends, my family, is that almost everyone has heard of it, but most of the people do not do this.
Pay yourself first.
Most of the people will ask me, okay, Raj, everything that I'm earning is mine. My answer is no, it is not. This is how you take a look at it. Do you trust yourself to save and pay yourself first? The government doesn't. That is why when you get your paycheck, they take the taxes out before you get the paycheck, because they don't believe that you'll be taking the full paycheck at the end of the month or year. You will be giving them the taxes. Think about it.
Yeah. So
Bill, the aspect is.
Bill, did you
Yeah.
run into a lot of entrepreneurs that don't pay themselves first?
Yeah, and so we call it the leftover syndrome, in that they wind up always getting the leftovers. Now, Raj is right. If you've got tax dollars or you got liabilities, you got to pay them. But the mindset that I've learned that I think breaks them out of these bad habits is pay yourself first, then put aside your taxes, what you can estimate you're going to have to pay, and the remaining money is what you got left for liabilities. And what they're going to say to you is, well, I don't have enough money to pay for all the liabilities. Okay, maybe what we've identified the problem is that it's costing you too much to run this business. If there's no gratification, if there's no reward for running this company, you're going to quit soon. You need something, because it's not an easy thing to do.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
that's what
I use with business owners to get them to rethink this. Not so much that they need to put the money in their pocket, but this whole idea of when you get whatever's left over, it becomes there's nothing ever left over.
I think that's a great one to put first there, Raj.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to figure that one out?
What's that?
How long did it take you to figure that one out?
Oh, it took me time. I can't say it didn't take me time. It did take me time to figure that out.
Because you've done a lot of businesses, haven't you?
Oh, many, yes. I have always had businesses on the side while I was in my job, and not every one of them succeeded, but there are successes too. But what I did was, anytime there was something which didn't succeed, I learned from it
Mm-hmm.
and learned what not to do next time. And it keeps on adding. You keep on adding to it and moving forward to the point where last year I actually left my job because this is what I wanted to do and fully delved into it. I said I'll develop my wings as I as I fly, and I'm building my ship as I'm sailing it.
Wow.
And it has
Yes.
been a whole year's journey creating the whole course. But this has come from life's lessons. So what I want to do is to people to learn from the lessons that I learned through multiple businesses, jobs, everything, consulting. There's a lot I kept on doing. And all these things I know work because I have not only a testimonial of myself, but also so many people I work with. Right now, I'm taking a people of 8 people on my team and guiding them through the course. So there's a self-paced course, and the second is a guided course. And just now, within first 2 weeks, there were people who were getting breakthroughs because they had heard of it to pay yourself first, and they had not. Now they have done is that they have started paying themselves first out of the money that comes in, and they're noticing that there is such a difference that it makes in their life when they do that. But my answer to that was automate it. If you automate it,
Yeah.
it goes out of your way and it automatically comes to you.
Mm.
So,
Right.
so that is most important aspect to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let me step in here and let's take us to break. We've got news at the bottom of the hour. So you're listening. The show is Sales 2020. The website is 2020sales.solutions. This is show number 11 on closing deals. This is William Eastman, co-host, along with Donna Tunde. And we are on WNTW 92.7 FM 820 AM from Chester, Virginia. And we'll be right back. Wow, Raj, that was powerful. So what we'll do is we'll take a couple minutes here and talk, and then I'll come back and do a reintro, and then we have 27 minutes on the other side. So we just did
Okay.
about 25 and a half minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to come back, Raj, and talk about the shoestring to a million with no inventory.
Sure.
Maybe segue into your email marketing and
Okay.
and if you want to talk about the Augmentino's greatest salesman in the world. Are you familiar with that one, Bill?
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah. In fact, I thought I was hearing some guy Kawasaki too.
Okay. Well, maybe you want to take that question.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to push Kawasaki's work. If Raj has got his own training program, let's not go. Let's not push guys.
Okay. Well, Raj, you had said the greatest salesman in the world changed your mindset on sales. So did you want to talk about that?
sure.
Yeah, I think that would be an exit. That would be an exit place to start to, since the whole theme of what we're doing is sales.
Mm-hmm.
But you couldn't have done what you did without being a good businessman. Number one, and number two, changing people's view of money. The other thing we got to do with business owners is got to change their view of sales, because so many of them are opposed to selling.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you expect to be successful if you don't want to sell. You don't have confidence in yourself or confidence in what your offer is. That's a tough one. It's almost. I know some salespeople that can't sell their own stuff. They can sell other people's stuff
Mm-hmm.
because they could say the things they need to say, but somehow maybe it's false modesty about, well, I can't brag on myself like that. Yeah, you can if you want to sell it.
Mm-hmm. So then maybe.
And yes, so true, because I went through the same aspect where I couldn't, because I was always told not to brag about yourself. And so it was a learning curve there where I learned how to sell. If I don't, how would people know what I'm selling?
Yeah. So maybe when we come back, Raj, I'll ask you about the influence that the greatest salesman in the world had on you, and then we could segue into how you were able to build your online business.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds
And
great. All right,
yeah, that's
all right. Everybody together on this?
Mm-hmm. Did you have a question, Raj?
No, I said yesterday, I had told you this. I sat and read the whole book over again, the Greatest Salesman. The one I had read it like years ago,
Oh, wow.
but I went through it all yesterday. Complete book.
Wow. That's dedication.
That is. That's also knowing your stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you see why I like Raj, Bill. He's a great guy, and he's dedicated.
Oh, all right. So I'm going to do a countdown and then start back up with the intro. And Donna, I'm going to give it to you for the questions.
All right, sounds good.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. This is Sales 2020. And you can come to our website, which is 2020sales.solutions. Go to show notes, which is on the navigation bar, and you can pick up today's notes. This is show 11, and we're on our second half here. Or you can also, if you go to the podcast section for Sales 2020, you can also download one of our 10 shows. You are listening to WNTW 92.7 FM, 820 AM, live from Chester, Virginia, servicing all of Central Virginia. And with that, let me give it back to Donna.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. We're in the studio today with my friend Raj Kapur with his business Options Ahead and his program, the Guidance to Wealth. Raj, what's that website that you would send them to?
Called Guidance to Wealth, GUIDANCETO, Wealth, WEALTH.com.
GuidanceToWealth.com. And Raj was talking about some of the principles in his program, the online course that he has earlier in the show. But now, Raj, I didn't really want to know. You said that Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world, changed your mindset on sales. Tell me about that. How did that show up in your life?
Sure, I'll do that. Let me just first say, when people go to guidancetowealth.com, I have created a masterclass there, the 5 epiphanies of wealth and money, which they can sign up and get for free. It's a 30-minute video. They can sign up and get it for free, and it has really great nuggets in it. So I will say, when you go there, take a look at it and sign up for it.
Fantastic. So
I'm at your website right now.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. So the greatest salesman in the world. Tell me about that.
So this is how this book came about. While going through different businesses, in early 2000s, I said, let me start up a business. And I wanted to start a business with website development. And with that, I went to India and I hired few people because it was just the onset of the websites. And I created a whole team. Came here, started selling. And when I started selling, I found that I was not very good at selling because I was told never to toot your own horn. And I was very reluctant in telling people what I do or doing it to the point because I was doing very good stuff. The sites that we created were really of top quality. That's when I started reading 2 things. One was Jay Abraham, and I got his course, which was, I think, few $1,000s. And he said that if you do not double your money within 90 days, I'll give the money back to you. And just want to tell you, when I started, I listened to the beginning of it and went. And that's when I realized that if I do not tell people what I do, who will? Why would anybody say anything? So that made a big difference. And that is when I went. I still remember we went for a website. It was for cellular phones. We went in for a website which we were anticipating around $1,200 to $1,300 for. But when we came out, it was $12,000
Oh my goodness.
that we sold.
Wow.
Yeah. And from that, we sold other websites, fragrance websites, which were like $30,000, $40,000, fully big websites with full inventory control and everything, because they had the team built in. So at that time, this book came into my life, The Greatest Salesman in the World, because I wanted to know more about sales. And I said, this is something really, really great. It's a short, very short book, but it is so powerful. It talks about the 10 scrolls that talk about sales. So I'm not going to go over the 10, but I'll tell you the things that really, really helped me in my life. And I'm talking about almost now, 18 years ago that I first read this book.
Yeah.
And
you read it again last night. You were just telling us on the break.
I just read the whole book over again last night.
Yeah.
And
so that dedication to continued learning is really important for entrepreneurs.
Exactly. And I, again, learned so much again from it. Few things which I had forgotten because it slips your mind. And I think I'm going to create a mind map on this, so it will remind me every day what the basic principles are of this. So the first thing which really helped me was the art of patience. That you need to be patient. Because in the beginning, when you're trying to build a business, you become very impatient. And that is where the problems lie. There is a time and place for everything. Everything takes time to build, and you have to give it the adequate time. Otherwise, things have a habit of not working too well. Second, that I really loved is that you have to talk to everyone or see everyone with love. So you cannot go with a negative attitude while you're selling. Because what happens is when you go in there, the other person can actually, even before they meet you.
They can feel your vibrations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is really important because sometimes you meet somebody and you come and say, I don't like the guy. You have no idea why, but just the feeling or the vibe is there. Sometimes you meet somebody and you say, man, it seems like I know this person for years. So if you have that gratitude, that love in your heart, when you go there and the aim in your head is that what I am doing is going to help them because of what I am doing,
And
then your persona is different.
that ties into what we're building here: attract the willing, solve their problems. Very simple.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Another thing which really, really helped me was the persistence. The book said, I will persist until I succeed. And nothing more powerful than that. Because every single business that I developed had problems, had people problems, had money problems, had problems in jiving with people or any kinds. There are so many of them. But what happens is if you are looking at the goal, this is where you want to reach, and your outlook always remains at that goal, then what happens is you know where you need to reach and you will persist. You will keep on going. Even when things are down, you know things will turn better. And another thing which also came from this book was this too shall pass. And that is what I kept on saying when things were bad. This too shall pass. When things were too good, I would say this too shall pass. So I do not get caught up in that.
Yeah.
Both things are important.
Yeah, because it just is. When you grow in the business, it just is. If it's good or if it's bad, it's going to
Yeah.
change, and so you just expect that. That's gold.
Another one I learned was multiply my value 100-fold. And I said the only way I can do that is by investing in myself. That is when I started reading. I started investing in myself. I have like hundreds of books that I have gone through on portions of it, but I kept on investing in myself. And that is one of the big parts of my course too, where I say you need to invest. If you do not invest in yourself, there is no bigger investment than in investing in yourself.
Yeah, and I love, Raj, that you said that you learned how to be a salesperson because you were really good at building the business, and you sounded like you were really good at being the technician and the tactician piece to things. But when you went to go to sell your product, it wasn't happening for you. And so, there's a lot of business owners, I think, that won't go and learn to be a salesperson because there's that negative connotation to it. So what advice do you have for them?
Don, I can't hear you.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay.
You just cut off.
All right, I'm talking loud. So,
Okay.
so the question, Raj, you had said that you went and when you first started building your business, you were very good as a tactician and a technician, and you thought that would also translate into sales, but you felt that you needed to go and learn how to be a salesperson. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs that won't take that next step to learn how to sell because they don't want it, there's such a negative connotation to that. So what advice would you have for those entrepreneurs that really should maybe learn how to sell?
This is what I would say. You're selling yourself every place, every time. When you're in your family, you're trying to give an idea, it's sales. You're selling something to your spouse. You're selling something to your children. If you take a look at that, you're always selling something. When you go for a job, you do an interview, you're selling yourself. Okay? When you talk to somebody in a networking event, you are selling yourself. The aim is to know that it is a sales. And sales is not a cheesy thing. Without sales, nothing is accomplished. Okay?
Amen.
Nothing is accomplished. But understanding this and getting the awareness that you are selling all the time. When you talk to somebody about your idea, what are you doing? You're selling them your idea.
That's right.
So if you're thinking of sales as something separate out there which you are going to learn, don't. Think where you're good. How do you sell your idea to other people? There are places which you will see that you have made a dent, where you have been able to talk so eloquently and so well. Capitalize on that. Build that into your sales process of your product. Do not separate it, because they're not separate things. Because once you go out there, you are selling not a product, you're selling yourself. Because if you're passionate, you're an entrepreneur, so you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And you have to be doing it for yourself, not for somebody else. Because that is where the passion comes in, is you're doing it for yourself. And persist, learn. Learning is an important aspect of it. Many people I know are not born salesmen. My brother became a very good salesman. And when we were in business in the beginning, he's the one who used to do the sales. I was happy sitting in the back and doing all the technical stuff, until I went and saw that I need to be out there in the front, otherwise it doesn't work. So that is
why
one
didn't it work if you were not in the front? What was it about bringing you to the front?
What's that?
What was it about bringing you to the front that made the difference?
The difference was coming in front was important, because there was a business we were doing together. But when I went on my own and started to do my consulting, at that time I realized that I'm the one who has to sell my services. He cannot sell my services.
Interesting.
And if I can do it, who's going to do it for me? So there would be people who will be selling for you. It doesn't work for you that way, until and unless. But the main thing for all the entrepreneurs out there is you need to understand sales. You need to learn sales. And if you don't, take some courses, read some books. And this simple book, let's start with this, The Greatest Salesman in the World. Very small book. Yeah, but this is going to change your mindset. You understand, sales is all about mindset, okay? It's all about mindset. If you see yourself as something you can do, you will do it. If you see yourself as scared and not being able to do it, you will not be able to do it. So you need to step into it. Step into that role. How do you do it? Okay, that's a big thing. People ask me, how do you do it? The how to do it is called when you actually do not just visualize. Visualization is an aspect and important part of it. But many people fail here, because what happens is you need to go and actually feel it. Feel it. Feeling is like, let's say you want to buy a new car. And obviously right now you might not have the resources to do it, but you said, I do really need a car. Once you start the visualization, just don't see that car with someone else in it. Feel yourself in the car. Feel the leather in the car. Feel the wind blowing in the car. The steering wheel. I'm just saying about one aspect. But similarly, once you start seeing the sale, you start picturizing yourself being in that sale and coming out and saying, oh, what a success.
We have a
that
mentor,
was successful.
Raj, we have a mutual mentor that even visualized the pen that he was handing, a Montblanc pen that he hands across the desk to the person having the sale. I mean, the vividness of your visualization can get so minute that it really gets that feeling tone of the yes on the other side, right?
Yes. And you know what? This works. The reason I'm saying is this works is because I have practiced this hundreds of times on myself and on others, people who are the clients that I have, and I know this works. I'll give you one very small and quick example. In my job as a chief financial officer, when I took on an organization which was really failing, we had our finance committee meetings almost every second week, that bad. And they were all over us. After I fixed everything, I said to myself and sat down, I said, I visualize myself that every single time when that meeting finishes, People are saying and clapping, Raj, great work, well done. You have changed everything. And that is how it will go. I used to do the visualization every time we had the finance committee meeting. And so what happens in 2 years, we went down to only 4 to 6 meetings a year because the confidence had risen. But after every single meeting, the directors would come to me and say, Raj, wonderful job. You have changed the organization. It never failed.
And you're selling
So,
in nonprofits. You're doing
yeah.
sales in nonprofits, and there's that misconception that a nonprofit there's no sales.
Oh my God.
How do you get donations if you don't sell?
Yeah.
Oh no.
You want to touch on that, Raj?
Nonprofit has to advertise as if it is a regular business. We had a program where we used to have after school and before school daycare, which we charged pretty good money for. Now, if we didn't sell, how would people come there? How would they know? And I'm the one who actually did a lot of sales in that by actually creating advertisements or posts saying how good our program was. And doing all that made a big difference.
And
So yes,
you had to do
sales
the
is
selling
everywhere.
for the organization as the CFO. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I was doing chipping in everywhere I could. That's what my main thing was.
So,
And I know where I could help. I did it. Yes.
so for any nonprofits that are listening, if you're running a nonprofit, just know that it's still a sales process. You still do the visualization, you still put yourself out there, and you still sell. You still have to sell.
And when you're putting out grants, what are you doing? You're selling your organization to
Yeah.
tell everyone else that you are better than others. So they should give you the grants. So
Right.
sales
And by
is
the way,
just
you
a
are
basic
listening to
aspect
Sales
of everything.
2020. Our website is 2020sales.solutions. This is show number 11, and we're talking about sales on WNTW 92.7 FM, 820 AM out of Chester, Virginia, serving all of Central Virginia. Raj, I'm sorry I cut you off on that, but you're making a great point. And you said it earlier, is that sales is a respected profession, and a lot of people see it as slimy. If you see it that way, you're not going to do it.
The main thing is there are people out there who have made it such where they do underhanded tactics of selling. That is where this mistrust has come in. And people start seeing salespeople as cheesy, as some people who are doing it. But understand, it's a very noble profession. Without that, nothing happens. Specifically, if you have your own business, you are an entrepreneur, nothing will happen without sales. Nowadays, the sales is changing with online sales, online marketing. But you are doing what? You're still selling.
Yeah. So,
You have to learn the new tactics now.
Raj, you actually took an online business from shoestring to $1 million in sales with
Yes.
no inventory, no stock, using the internet and your business relationships. How did you do that?
Okay. So I just explained to you or went over the story where I started that website business.
Yes.
And what I realized at certain juncture was that I got so busy with my job that I couldn't sustain it. And between this time, we found we had done some websites for some beauty products and fragrance websites, pretty high end. And we made good relations with them because they loved what we did. And so what we did was we started online beauty product stores, mainly brand name fragrances of all kinds. Now I had a team which built us a very robust website. Now what we went through and the way we built it was on a shoestring, because when we started, we didn't have any money for this. And we started by getting the websites done. And then we, in the beginning, started to add in some inventory by buying some products and then shipping it and selling it, and found that this was very tedious, hard work. And whenever you got returns or something, it was a problem. That's where we started figuring out how to create something which can go bigger. So this was a dream and idea of myself and my brother. Both of us were in there, and we started to brainstorm, build on it. And that is where we started selling ourselves, telling people that we are the best in selling. We can do online selling because at that online selling at that time was not that big. It had started, but how to go into Google, break that algorithm, how to know, these are all the things that we had to learn. But the way we built it now, the way we built it is we went to the vendors who were wholesalers, who were already having these products with them. We told them that we can give them a big chunk of sales if they would drop ship this for us, pack it and do that for us. And we will sell, we will get the money, and we will pay them on a 30-day basis. Now for them, that was an additional avenue because many of them did not have online portal, specifically the wholesalers. And we were saying, we are putting you in retail. Do you have the bandwidth to do this? Obviously, not everyone did, but there were enough. Once we knocked enough doors, by the way, we knocked enough doors. We went to New York City. We knocked door to door,
Wow.
went to the fragrance suppliers and asked them what exactly would it take for us to do. And finally, we built relationship with a handful of them. And that's when they used to send us the prices. But as I said, the robustness of this was in the website we created with the full inventory tracking in the back end. Now, what we did, and these were our trade secrets, now we don't have the business anymore because we had to close it after a few years when Amazon came in and literally ate up everything. I said it was time to leave before you get eaten up. And that time we closed the business just in time before we incurred too much losses. But the main thing was to get the sales. And my brother and me sat down one evening, I know, and we said, we're going to open up a bottle of Blue Label Johnny Walker the day we hit $1 million. Now, at that time, we had not even reached $10,000, by the way. So that was a big claim. Where did it come from? Who knows? Who cares? But it did. And we said, let's move on. Let's do what we need to do. And this was while I was having my job, by the way. So it was pouring in like midnight oil and everything. But we created multiple websites. And we targeted different audience with those websites. So we had a different target audience with different websites. And that is how my brother learned to become one of the best SEOs. And we were on the front page of Google search with paid and without page market. So we were even competing with the people who we were buying from, by the way, because we were coming above them.
How about that?
Because we learned how the internet marketing works.
So a couple of things I hear from your story, Raj, is first of all, you tried to have some inventory and realized that you could streamline it and make more profit by thinking outside the box and getting people to drop ship for you. So there's a lot of business owners that I know out there that get stuck in one way of thinking and won't make any changes to it. No, this is how it is, and we're going to keep doing it until it works, by golly. But that's not what I'm hearing from you. I'm hearing that change is good, that staying aware that there could be a better way to do it and give it a shot is the way to go.
Absolutely. No, you have to think out of the box. Because what happens is there's always something that you can do better than what you're doing right now. You have to figure out what it is. And in due time, you have to, but you need to be aware. And you have to keep your mind open. You have to keep your eyes open. And soon enough, you will be able to figure out anything which is better. So give it a try. Don't leave the whole thing, but give it a try. If it works well and good, there were many things we tried, by the way. Some worked, some didn't. This worked. This worked really well. And then we poured our full concentration into email marketing. Now, email marketing at that time had become very deceptive, meaning to say people were buying lists, and by buying lists, they were just spamming them. And that's what I didn't know better. So I did buy a list, and I said, as per the law, we can do this, this, this. And I got back such bad emails, people, I don't care for you. And I'm like, this is wrong. It has to be permission-based marketing. So I learned that. So with permission-based marketing, we started doing some contests. And the contests were completely genuine, meaning to say if a person won, we did send them what they won, and they were giving us good reviews. That's one. Number two, when we send an email to our list of people, the the most important thing which I realized very soon enough was that to open the email, the headline needs to make sense. The subject line.
Mm-hmm.
And because without subject line, people are not going to maybe open up the email.
So good,
And so,
good copy in the sales letter, basically, is what I'm hearing.
yeah. And so using simple techniques, basically, I'm the one who did quite a bit of the copywriting because I'm pretty good in doing the copywriting. And I use the neuro-linguistic programming NLP techniques
There it is
where,
again.
there you are. So those work, okay? So bottom line is the person has to connect to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we get a good price on a specific fragrance. So what we would do is we will showcase that in the email and we would put it out. Excuse me. We will put it out by saying that once you give this as a gift for this maybe Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas time, whatever, you see the smile on the face of the person who's applying it. They are thanking you. I'm just getting this off the mind what we used to do. It's been many years. But after applying that perfume, they are feeling so good. So you use the auditory feeling, hearing, sensory, all those things. So if a person is using any of the modalities, they would be attracted towards it.
I love it. I love it. So Raj, we're
So,
starting to come
mhm.
towards the close of our time together. But before we end, what do you absolutely want our audience to know about you?
So what I would like the audience to know about me is that live your dream. Okay? Most of the people are working in jobs, 9 to 5, where they hate what they are doing. And then many times they would get into entrepreneurship because the only thing they want to do is they are enticed by money and nothing else. And they find themselves in a bigger hole because not only have they invested a lot of money, but they're doing something which they don't like. Now, you have to understand what you like, but what you're good at it too. So just liking it doesn't make any sense because you need to be good at it too. You can be passionate. This is what was my take. Can I do something even if I don't get paid for it and I'm still happy? Once I start thinking and then I see how can I build a business around it. And so all the things that I did, I created this wealth course because what I realized being in nonprofits, working with my clients is that there are so many people who are living good lives, making good money, but still living paycheck to paycheck. And I said, how can I take something and change their awareness?
Right.
And at one juncture, I started feeling in nonprofits that I was a big fish in a small pond. And I said, how can I take my message and make it bigger? So then instead of doing one-on-one clienteles, which I had, I said, let me create a course which I can now reach to so many people and they can make a difference by learning all aspects of them.
I love it.
And that is what I did. And so I'm doing it two phases. One is a self-directed course. And the second is for the people who really need to go on this journey, who really want full in-depth information and knowledge. I guide them through this 8-week course by taking their exact problem and guiding them through this. Could it be entrepreneurs? Could it be people who are in jobs? We go through every aspect of it.
Perfect. Perfect. Raj, how can they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me by going to my website, rajkapur, RAJKAPUR.com, and then they can book a call with me. There's a link on there, book a call with Raj. And for free, 30 minutes, you can talk to me.
I love it.
And if we can work together, excellent. If we can't, you will have 30 minutes with me where you would have learned something that you didn't know before. And maybe that can guide you and put you on a path that you need to be.
Yes, a wealth of knowledge. Thanks, Raj.
My
Well,
pleasure.
thank you, Raj. And again, anybody that's interested, his website is Guidance to Wealth. That's guidance to, T-O, not the number, wealth.com. And you can see his offer and what he's doing. And I greatly appreciate that. And you've said many things that I've said over the years related to the radio show and selling. And so I greatly appreciate the reinforcement, especially if you think about it, permission-based marketing is really, we're in permission-based selling. And so we need to get people to give us permission to sell to them, and that's part of what's different than 20 or 30 years ago. So with that, for Raj Kapur, for Donna Kunde, this is William Eastman, co-host for the show. You've been listening to Sales 2020, our show for business owners, sales professionals who want to win more and better business, which means higher margins by attracting the willing and solving the problems. You can take a look at today's show notes or podcast, going to our website at 2020sales.solutions at 2020sales.solutions. So with that, I greatly appreciate our guest and everybody's on Facebook Live. We will be on Saturday at 10 o'clock, Sunday at 4, and we'll be back in the studios next Thursday. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Raj.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting me on. That was just amazing. Wonderful. Thank you.
You're a natural.
And we'll put a link on the website to your website.
And Raj, you said you were going to send over some show notes. You were going to do that for us?
I'll write something maybe tomorrow and send it to you.
Okay, perfect. We'll get that up there for you.
Excellent. Yes, we will.
Great. Well, thanks again, Raj. Thanks, Bill, for doing what you do on the other end over there. And I guess we say goodbye to Facebook now, and until next week. Yeah.
All right. And thanks for anchoring the show. And I'll find out why the Zoom's not working.
Thank you, sir.
I'll talk to Kim.
Okay.
All right. Everybody have a great day.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Donna. Take care.
Bye-bye.